So many of you really took an interest in a video we posted recently, trying to unravel the mystery that is, or was, the stock nose kit. You guys provided your ideas and theories on this car, as well as the car pulled out of the toxic waste pit in Junkyard Dog. We had theorized that the gutted kit seen there was one of the high traction drop-down cars, thus leaving us scratching our heads as to how it could be when stock nose kit and one of the cars that we own clearly were the two high traction drop down equipped cars. Well, quite literally the afternoon after we posted that video, we had a huge breakthrough, and we can now set the record straight on both the stock nose kit and the Junkyard Dog kit shell. And for those of you who enjoy watching us go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, in the Knight Rider universe, then you'll find this video incredibly satisfying. With all that said, let's now unravel the mystery that is the stock nose kit. So, be honest, how many of you watched our other recent video that covered the original front bumper that originated from the Junkyard Dog gutted kit? Well, if you didn't, quit being a slacker and check it out. There's a link up above. Anyways, in that video, we revealed to you that the bumper had a number written on the underside, the number 1965. This number was placed there by Universal Studios. Once a vehicle was in Universal's fleet, it was tagged with an in-house inventory control number. These inventory control numbers were referenced on the production call sheets as well, so the car wranglers knew which cars to bring to the set on a given day. So for the rest of this video, when we refer to car 1965, we're talking about the gutted kit in the toxic waste pit in Junkyard Dog. We know that 1965 was the car in this toxic waste pit, because we have the call sheets that tie it all together, along with the production notes that specifically state that 1965 was the gutted version of KITT. So, for years, we assumed that 1965 was in fact the other high-traction drop-down car from the second season episode, Speed Demons. Why did we think that? Well, because we had a call sheet from Speed Demons showing 1965 on set for a day's filming. Through our years of research, we can usually tell which cars are used in which scenes, as you probably know from seeing our episode commentary series on this channel. In watching Speed Demons, we were able to visually identify all the cars used in that episode except the high traction drop-down car. Since the call sheet had 1965 on it, we assumed that had to be the high traction drop-down car. That, plus the weighed down rear end on 1965 when it's pulled from the acid pit in Junkyard Dog, seemed to confirm it. Boy, were we wrong. Goes to show you that even after decades of studying the show, even the Knight Rider historians make mistakes. 1965 was not the high traction drop-down car from Speed Demons. The sagging rear end, as some of you correctly theorized, was due to the weight of the sludge still inside the car when it was being pulled out of the toxic waste pit. In fact, take a look at this behind-the-scenes photo of 1965 at George Barris's shop, right before it was converted into the transforming Super Pursuit car. Notice how the rear end isn't sagging here? That's because the sludge had all leaked out of it. So with that, we are closing the book on 1965, for the purposes of this video at least. We'll do a full dedicated video on 1965 in the near future. So, how did we get to the bottom of this mystery, you might wonder? A little detective work and a whole lot of luck. You see, we weren't even trying to solve this mystery when we solved this mystery. We were actually working on trying to identify the different versions of KARR in KITT versus KARR. And we developed an entirely new research method that proved to be quite fruitful. So remember when I said the Universal Studios inventory control numbers for the cars were listed on the call sheets? Well, the call sheets also list which scenes were to be filmed that day by their scene number. The scene numbers are listed out in the scripts of the episodes. So that gave us an idea. What if we listed out each scene number and the cars on set that day the scene was filmed? We'll then put it into a giant spreadsheet, sort it by the scene number, thus creating a listing of every scene and every car available to film that scene. They always had multiple cars on set for a given day, and obviously not all ended up being used for the scenes on the filming day. So, once we had our spreadsheet together, and with the script in hand, it was time to watch the episode. So, we put in our video cassette of KITT vs. KARR, well, our Blu-ray digital copy, and hit the play button. As each scene unfolded, we would pause, reference the script, and reference our spreadsheet with all of the available cars available to film that scene. And we would then mark which car was actually used. We can easily identify the so-called standard cars used for filming. You know, like the hero car, the left-hand blind drive car, the hardtop stunt car. So it was simple for us to pick out which car was used. The trickier parts were when there was a Trans Am on screen that wasn't one of the regular cars used. So as KITT vs. KARR advances, we got to the scene where KARR arrives at the creek bed. This extremely short scene contained a car that for a long time we were unable to identify. But this time, we had our spreadsheet. And on the set that day, according to the call sheets, was only one Knight Rider car that we couldn't identify. Car number 1961. Finally, we were able to put a number to this car. But something else caught our eye. Take a closer look at this scene, and you'll see that 1961 has high traction drop downs enabled. Once we noticed this, everything then fell into place. Even the rear view mirror mount on this car that can be seen on the high traction drop down car in Speed Demons. This is in fact the stock nose KITT before it was, well, stock nosed. KITT vs. KARR used both high traction drop down cars. Our backup to the hero car in the scenes where KARR escapes from his sandy grave at the start of the episode, and 1961 in this very short scene. We finally had our answer, and based on the number 1961, this was most likely one of the 1983 train derailment cars. But why did the stock nose KITT have a Knight Rider nose in KITT vs. KARR, and not in later episodes? Well, we don't necessarily have an answer for that. Some of you probably want to say, well, at the end of KITT vs. KARR, there's a bumper laying on the creek bed floor. Is that the bumper for KITT? You know, is that why they took the bumper off the car and then they just put a stock nose on? I don't think so. I don't know 100%, but I don't think so. I think that was just a spare bumper they had lying around. Could be mistaken. But between KITT vs. KARR and when they filmed the Ice Bandits, because the Ice Bandits was the premiere of the stock nose KITT. So between KITT vs. KARR and the Ice Bandits was a 1 month filming gap. KITT vs. KARR was the first episode filmed for season 3, even though it was aired in a different order. It was the first episode filmed for season 3, and then Ice Bandits was about a month later where it was filmed. And that's where we first see the stock nose KITT. So I don't know what happened to this car between those two times, but for some reason they didn't have a Knight Rider bumper available for this car, so it just received a stock Trans Am front nose that was modified with a scanner and fog lights. But our analysis doesn't end there, because who's to say for sure that this car was in fact 1961? Most likely was, based on the evidence you just heard. But in 2018, we were given a very valuable piece of paper by a friend of ours who used to work at Universal Studios. The piece of paper originated from April of 1985, which was right between the filming of seasons 3 and 4. It was basically a moment-in-time snapshot of all the Knight Rider cars available for filming. All of the cars on that paper were familiar to us, except for, you guessed it, 1961. The stock nose KITT was used to film the final produced episode of season 3, Night Strike. So we are relatively certain that it survived into season 4. So putting that together with this piece of paper we got, this car had to be 1961. Now, we've yet to identify 1961 in any season 4 episodes, but you can bet that research will still be ongoing. As for the fate of 1961, Well, if it didn't survive until the end of the series, it would have been crushed, unfortunately. So regardless, it no longer exists. But at least that's one mystery solved, and about 1 million more to go. So tell me, did you enjoy this deep dive, once again, into the minutiae of Knight Rider? I think you did. Let me know in the comments below, and we'll hopefully unravel some additional mysteries in the future. As always, we appreciate you guys, every single one of you, for spending some time with us. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.
And now, while we listen to Joe's selection of Knight Rider music that we received directly from Don Peak himself, we'd like to thank these Patreon supporters. Look at you guys scrolling up the screen to my right. Wait a minute, how can you tell which side is my right, since you can't see me because I'm not on camera? Oh well, you know what I mean. We're featuring these fine supporters at our Knight Rider Prop Restorer level. Thank you very much for your support. And for those of you at the Knight Rider History Hunter level, we're recognizing you right now in the description. Now, if you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being rescued from obscurity, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support would empower us to bring you even more of these historical nuggets. We are the Knight Rider Historians. Till next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.